is a complicated thing. And when you mix video with it, it gets a little scary for some of us. And I want to talk about these four things when it comes down to video. And I wrote them down, so I want you to pay attention. Very first one we're going to talk about is finding your audience. Number two, some reconnaissance work. Number three, outlining it so that it comes out in the best way possible to target that audience, make sure you connect with them, right? And number four is show up, but there are details with that. So those are the four things we're going to cover. But first, I got this little gift, and I don't know if you know what this is, but it might seem strange. Let me take it out of the bag. I just got it. So guess what this is if you don't know. Let's see. I don't want to blur it out. Can anybody guess what this little guy is? And I knew what it was instantly because I used to watch this with my sister when I was a kid. For those of you guessing correctly, it is My Neighbor Totoro. These little critters that would follow the two small girls and Totoro. But if you haven't watched My Neighbor Totoro, watch it. Studio Ghibli. It's amazing. I'm going to put this probably behind me or somewhere towards the front. Let's talk about video. Shooting video can be a little scary for some of us, including me. Look, sometimes I'm sitting in front of the camera and I overthink it. I'm like, should I say this? Should I say that? And really what calms me down the most is outlining it, but not doing it verbally. And we'll get to that. Very first thing though is doing some work that identifies your audience. Now, I've been doing social media for a longer time, so I can go back to the back end, and I'll show you in a little bit. I can go back to the back end of Facebook, I can go to YouTube, I can go to Instagram, and even TikTok, and identify who is my audience. And I'll show you really quick. If you are using YouTube or Facebook, there are some great tools out there that allow you to identify your audience. And if you already are just using plainly YouTube, YouTube has something on the back end on your channel, and it's the analytics. And let me show you how that looks. So if I go to the back end of my analytics, I'm going to zoom in. You see where it's highlighted towards the top, not highlighted, but bluish. It says content, traffic source, geography, cities, viewer age, viewer gender. Those are the ones that I'm interested in because the items that I talk about, they have to either be, when it's real estate related, have to be targeting the geographies that follow me. And look, it's not even close for me. When we go into geographies and I go into cities, Los Angeles, New York, Las Vegas Los Angeles is the majority of my followers because, I'm here in LA, Ventura County. So that I have to consider. Maybe I should start doing more content for the audience in LA, right? Viewer age. I look at the viewer age, and out of the thousands of people that watch the videos that I create, I'm looking at my audience being about even all throughout. It's like 25 to 54, right? And it's not too bad even when I go a little older. So the younger generation, because I don't shoot video games and I don't shoot really other stuff like that. I don't get very much of the younger age, but I do get this age group, and I have to dig in deeper and think, well, what is it that they're looking for when it comes down to real estate? And I think when I look at this, and I have 62% of my audience is male, 38% is female, I have to think at some point I've got to turn that around because the average real estate agent is, I think 66% are female, and the average age is 56 now, around there. And so I'm like, I have a massive opportunity for growth. And I'm thinking, how can I connect better with that audience? Because most of the content that I create is for real estate agents on this channel specifically, because I've got other channels, right? And so now you have to think about it. Who are you targeting? What is that demographic? And that's where you start looking at, well, let's get some details down. What would this person like? What are their challenges? And as you start writing them down, you can then create ideas from it. This takes a lot of work because when you're identifying your audience, you get more ideas when you do part two. And number two is reconnaissance work. Like, go out and research. Just use Google. Like, if you and I can go to Google right now, and I'll just go to Google with you so you can see some of the things that I do. If I go on Google, and let me share my screen with you. If I go to Google and I type in on the top, you see where it says real estate video marketing or real estate videos or videos on real estate, whatever you want to do. It gives me ideas. Even at the top, Google's trying to help me out. It's like funny, marketing, creative, drone. What do you want? What do you want? And you can pick any of these, right? And as you go through, the idea behind doing this research is being able to identify something that you can relate with, that you can say, wow, you know what? I think I can do that. And that's what a lot of us don't do. A lot of us just want to shoot these videos and have no idea where to start, and we're not inspired by anything. So as you're doing this research work, I'll give you an example. Look, I write this all down, right? As I'm talking to you, I write it in bullet points. And I write my ideas and I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. I'm going to add my twist to that. I take notes on that. This whole red journal is all video, right? And when I pack it up, I put in a new one. And that's what I keep on doing. Now, number 3 is outlining it. All these ideas that you have, it's a great idea to outline them. And my friend Jeff Fitzer, who runs Drunk on Social with me, he loves to actually use a teleprompter. And one of the ones that he uses, if you're using your phone, he uses Prompt Smart Pro. So you want to take a look at that. Let me just go and show you what that looks like on the app. And I use, when I need it, I use on the desktop, it's called qprompter.com. I think if you use your phone, like most of us do, Prompt Smart Pro is probably the best one. And I'm going to show you how that looks. Prompt Smart Pro. This way, at least you pick the right one. Here it is. And here's my screen for you. This is what it looks like. So if you're going to use your phone, right? Let me go back to this. If you're going to use your phone, what you want to do is just pop it up, copy, paste exactly what you're going to say, like my friend Jeff does. And as you're reading it, because it can hear, it scrolls down. So this is what it would look like. Prompt Smart Pro. It puts it up on your phone. And I mean, it's got great reviews. People love it. But the cool part about it is, as you're sitting in front of it and talking and going blah, 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 it's scrolling. This way it captures it. That's if you're using your phone. And if you're using a desktop, go to qprompter.com. That's C-U-E. That's if you want to do it that way. The way I do it is pretty simple for me. I literally bullet point it on a journal. That's it. That's all I do. I look down at it and I'm just making sure that I'm touching on all these points so that then everything that I've researched and done comes out in the way that I need to talk about it. I even add this little guy, like if I'm going to bring in anything, I have it ready to go. So it's right next to me. Right, that's if I'm shooting this video. If you're outdoors and shooting some great video on a property, I still outline it. We've done it before. So that's number 3. Number 4 is you've got to find some consistency. And the way that we've been able to do it is most of the time, look at the time right now. It's 5:30 Pacific and it's 8:30 Eastern. I do that almost every day. Anytime I'm going to shoot video, it's going to be between 5 to 5:30-ish, right? Because that's when I wrap up parts of the other businesses that I have. And I know that every day, as soon as I'm done, I've done enough research before in the mornings to be able to run these videos. What does it look like for you? Is it weekly? Is it Tuesdays at 9 from 9 to 10? Is that when you're going to shoot video? Is it Thursdays from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m.? I know some of my friends, what they do is they hire a video crew because they know they're never going to do it. See, I even have an alarm that tells me when I'm going to shoot video. Some of my friends hire these video guys that say, okay, every Thursday at this time, you're going to show up to my office, you're going to shoot video, or you're going to show up to a specific neighborhood. I'm going to meet you there, and we're just going to shoot video. This way, they're held accountable. So what I want you to do right now is write down, hey, when can I actually shoot video? And when am I going to do the research behind it? When am I going to go scroll through and find those videos that inspire me to sit down and actually create some content? For me, because I do this on almost a daily basis, but one of the things that I do is on Instagram when I'm looking through, or TikTok, I'm scrolling through TikTok and I'm like, ooh, that's a great video. What I do is I grab that video with the link, I text it to myself, and then I put right behind underneath the notes, I'm like, this would make a great video to do this. Boom, done, send. And that's how I have it, because I check my own text. I'm like, hey, Tristan, I'm going to text you, text myself. As I know that's where I gravitate to. And this way they're saved there. You can put them on notes, you can put them on anything else, but that's the way I function. So look, in repeat, in order to start shooting great video and show up consistently, number one, find your audience. What is your audience? Who you're trying to talk to, who you're trying to convince, who you're trying to give value to. Find your audience. Who is that? And if you're just starting off, just go with the idea of who you think it is. And as you get better and better, right, then you'll understand. And look, like for us, when I go, I'll show you the back end of Labcoats so you can understand who our audience is. And that's 150,000 professionals here. And this is the back end of Labcoat Agents. You've got, here's the age and gender, right? So we've got 63% female, 37% male. That's actually very close to the real estate stat, which is like, I think 66% are female real estate agents. And for me, it's also important, like where, this is how we determine where we have events, live events. Look, top cities, here they are: LA, 2,200, San Diego, 19, almost 2,000, Las Vegas. These are the people that are more active, right? And then you can see in the United States, we've got 147,000 active members. And in Canada, we've got 3,000 as well. So as you get more data, it's important to start paying attention to that data, because then it determines who you're talking to, right? It's deciding for you. Next is find some time to research as a reconnaissance. It's important. You need to know what it is that you're actually inspired by, so you show up. Number three, outline these things. I bullet point them. You can type it all out and use Smart, what was it, that Prompt Smart Pro that Jeff Fitzer uses. And then finally, make sure that you show up weekly, same time, same day. It makes your life easier, and it kind of takes some of that fear away. But look, at the end of the day, you're still gonna, if you don't like shooting video, and I know it looks like I love shooting video, I freak out sometimes before. This is why I take notes, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna don't screw this one up, Tristan. I freak out a little bit. So in order for me to freak out less, I need to prepare and show up more often. But that's the advice I've got for you. If you have any questions, reach out to me anytime. I'm always available on almost all the channels. So thank you so much. If you're watching this on YouTube, do me a favor, subscribe. Anywhere else, follow me.